Hello, everyone. It's Dave Paulsen, head basketball coach at George Mason University for episode 8 of our Distancing Dialogues. Today, lucky to have Bryson Johnson, currently an assistant coach with me at Mason, also a 4-year player for me, survived it, lives to tell about it, all-time leading three-point shooter in Bucknell and Patriot League history. Excited to have you on the show, Bryson.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Awesome. For people, and this is kind of weird, but this is unfortunately how we do our staff meetings. And Brayson's got the nice locker room background there. For those who haven't seen any before, these are just discussions that we would normally be having with current and former assistant coaches, trying to share them on this platform and also to give back to relief agencies. And I've given to a number of agencies today. We can see the screen. I've got a T-shirt from DC Central Kitchen. They've been my go-to charity of choice. Mike Curtin, the executive director, just does an unbelievable job there. They've served over 500,000 meals during this pandemic. And in addition to that, really try to help teach skills so that people become chefs, become cooks, and getting people back out in the workforce. Really just phenomenal organization. Bryson, you got a group that you're going to donate to as well?
I'm going to double up on the DC Central Kitchen if that's okay with you. We were able to go there a couple of years ago as a team, and they were super, super helpful. And obviously, and the things they do in the community, just seeing that firsthand was really special and eye-opening. So would love to kind of piggyback off you and throw a donation their way as well.
That's great. And again, the goal would be for anyone who watches it, and it's all going to be housed on our Mason Athletics YouTube page, that if you saw something worthwhile, and I guarantee you're going to today, just think about giving back to whoever it might be, a relief agency in your community, nationally. We've got a lot of people who need our help and our support. So, and again, I'm still learning my technology, so I forgot to silence my alarms here on my screen, which Bryson, you usually is the one keeping me under control, and hopefully I can figure out how to do this. I'm having a hard time. But while I'm trying to figure that out, and this is why I'm not on TV, Bryson, 4-year player for me. Bryson was, for those watching, as hard, if not harder working than anyone I ever coached. Really transformed our culture at Mason with his work ethic. So talk a little bit, though, about what it took for you to be able to play at the Division I level and the sacrifices you had to make and the work that you put in.
Yeah, I mean, I always like to tell people, like, maybe the best thing about my story is there's nothing extraordinary about me. Like, I am not that gifted physically, and things like that. I think it was kind of what allowed me to get to the Division I level is I was aided by really, really good people. I had phenomenal support system in my AAU high school coaches, obviously my mother and my brother as well. And I just spent a lot of time in the gym. So during the course of my high school year, I knew I wanted to play Division I basketball. Growing up in Nova Scotia, Canada, that's a tall ask because not a lot of Nova Scotians have been able to reach the Division I level.
Weren't you the first, Bryson? Weren't you the very first Nova Scotian to get Division I scholarship?
I believe so. Yes, I believe so. Yes. And,
so they might put a statue of you and me for taking that gamble on you in Nova Scotia. They might.
There you go. And so it's been so that was just something, but I was never deterred by anyone around, and I think that's really important. Is that I was able to have people around me that really appreciated what I was trying to do and encouraged me to chase those goals. And in high school, I went 6 days from 9th grade to the time I graduated and stepped foot on campus. I went 6 days without playing basketball in that four-year stretch. So it was a really simple formula, is that I felt like I just was in the gym more than a lot of other people. And again, going back to that, not being physically gifted, I've never dunked in a basketball game, things like that. You can do it. You don't have to have those gifts. Basketball is a great sport because it allows different people with different gifts, as long as they want it. And as long as they dedicate themselves, they'll be able to find a niche and be able to impact the game in different ways.
That's great. And again, we're going to go, when we go into your presentation, it's going to be shooting an individual workout, something that you excelled at as a player and something that you have been phenomenal at in helping our current players, on the floor, for sure. And obviously this time period, you said you went 6 days, did you say? In your 4 years without playing. And unfortunately, for many of our guys, for many of the players across the country, they've gone much longer stretches than they ever have, without playing. Talk a little bit, many of the people who might watch might be guys who are playing now, finished up playing, and are thinking about making the transition into coaching. What were some of the challenges of going from being a player, to an assistant coach?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it happened relatively abruptly. Like, of course, you gave me my first opportunity as a graduate assistant here at George Mason. And the original adjustment is kind of dealing with the control factor on how you can actually impact the game. And I felt myself really originally being like, why can't I just go out there and help? Why can't I just sub in? Like, I think I can go out there and help the guys, as opposed to now you got to change your frame of mind and to be like, how can I help them be successful? So it's a much more self-centered view as a player to now a much more, well, how can I help others? How can I help the guys on the floor? Because those are the ones that have the most control. So that frame of mind shift really was challenging, but once it kind of clicked, I would say it took me about, honestly, 6 months. So I think that first year, once we got about halfway through A10 league play, was when I was really like, oh, okay, and that's when you realize as a coach, it's just not about you. It's about the guys. How can you help the guys? And you're just trying to pour energy into them. And that was the biggest switch. And to say it happens right away, I'd be lying to you. It took some times and obviously some frustration as well. But that's the natural progression that I felt I went through, kind of transitioning from that player to a coach.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And we're blessed now on our coaching staff to have 3 former Division I players, 3 former Division I guards on our staff. So I'm going to put that little plug in. If you're a guard, you want to get better, there's no better place to come. But that's my little testimonial there. But I think what's unique, one of my pet peeves has been at times when you see a guy who had been a great player and now he's a coach and it's still about him. And I think what you just hit on, which I think is so important, once you become a coach, it's not about you. It can't be about you. It shouldn't be about you. It's about, can you take your playing experience, your coaching experience, whatever it is, and use it to help make the kids in your program better. And that's something that I've seen from you, from Dwayne Simpkins, and know is the case to be the case with Maurice Joseph, who's just joined our staff. What helped you? What's been the most helpful for you in learning, quote unquote, learning how to be a coach as opposed to be a player? Like what's been the most informative for you, Bryson?
So for me, I've always tried to be self-reflective. So I think failure is a great lesson. I think just seeing guys from a personal standpoint, seeing guys not necessarily really embrace my messaging at first when I first started, and self-reflecting on that was something that was eye-opening for me, in the sense that, not that they were like this guy, like I can't listen to him, whatever, but it just like, I was constantly asking myself, well, how can I deliver a message and have it resonate in a more impactful way? And it just took me a while to kind of separate that, like, oh, like you just need to really, really focus on them. And then obviously I was broadly and working with you, Coach Fisher, Aaron Kelly, and Dwayne Simpkins at the time, seeing how you guys coached as well. Well, now you see that example, and then you're able to apply it to yourself. And I wish I was a little more self-reflective in the sense I could see that immediately, but I'd be lying to you if I said I could. So it just took some time.
But again, so many good nuggets, and I don't usually like to say good things about you, but but in this medium, okay, fine. But failure, okay, and I think for players, I think for coaches, failure is inevitable, and it's instructive and it's teaching as long as we are willing to be vulnerable and willing to learn from our failures, and then self-reflection, and I think those are two things, that you've really touched on. That are really, really good. And I know you're going to continue to blossom as a teacher and a coach and as a mentor to our guys. And so now what we want to do is let you kind of share your screen, Bryson,
Sure.
and talk. And this is a good, because this would be a different, and most of our dialogues have been really directed to, if you will, the X's and O's and the technique of 5-on-5 basketball. But one of the things that we are fanatical about in our program is player development. We've been fortunate to have 3 of the last 4 most improved players in the A-10 in our program. That's a tribute to those guys, but it's a tribute to the assistant coaches who work with these guys daily on player development. So you're going to talk a little bit about shooting and individual workouts, and I'm going to let you go. And this is going to be very hard for me, but I'm going to try to remain quiet.
No, that's feel free, obviously, to hop in anytime, Coach. And with this stuff, and I kind of when we build a workout and things like this for our guys, obviously you want to tailor it to the guys' specific needs or where we see them developing. And just 3 things that I try to hit on and we try to hit on in every workout is, one, there's got to be repetition. Obviously, that's the foundation of improvement, is repetition. Number 2, we want to put them in game-specific situations and also kind of relay how it applies to them specifically. So a lot of this stuff is the shots that they will see in a game. There's times to expand someone's game where you're introducing something that you want them in the future to be able to do, but there's also times where you obviously need to sharpen a skill for them to be successful in the moment. And that's something that you're going to see here a little bit, and then competition.
And then these are clips from last year, practice workouts, because obviously, unfortunately, we have not been able to be in a gym with any of our players up to this point.
So, Coach, this is actually the first workouts, the first 2 workouts there's going to be filmed from the 2019-20 season. So late August, early September. Okay, perfect. So that's what we're going to look, and you're going to see a couple guys, and I'll talk about kind of what I'm telling them as these workouts are going on as well, and just our frame of mind. So the basic questions I like to ask as well is going into a workout like, well, what is the focus? So this workout, again, it's one of our first workouts. For me, I like to kind of see like, well, where are the guys at? So for the competition portion and the reps and the skill development game situations, I wanted to kind of see, well, let's put them in game shots that they're going to see, and you're going to see that in the competition portion, and just see where they're at so we can kind of evaluate, well, what needs to be tweaked, what needs to be worked on. And then obviously, when will they use these skills in a game? That's going to be important for that dialogue. And then one thing that I'm really, really into with these early workouts is I give them very minimal instruction. Like we mentioned there, I actually like to see how they do things without me telling them how to do it. And then I also like to think that if they can actually do something and they fail at it, they're more receptive to my information. So like we talked about with me developing as a coach, the failure was really important for me for self-reflection. And then when I'm able to go back and watch film with these guys, I won't necessarily correct some of their failures that you may see in this film, because when we watch film the next day in the workout, now when I give them the information, or even better, if they ask me, well, why am I failing? now they're more receptive to that information. So that's something that I think is really important, and we will get into that throughout this workout. So again, basically we'll start with ball handling and things like that. This, for the film portion, we start with shooting. Shooting is obviously a staple of our program, staple of every program. We love to get our guys to get shots up. Our guys have grown tremendously in their willingness and kind of desire to get in the gym and just really attack getting better in this specific aspect of the game. So this drill right here is 4 minutes shooting. Standard in our program, okay? And you won't see the full drill, but what it does, it's a great kind of drill to get a rhythm, allow the guys to see the ball go through the hoop, not super taxing, and just kind of work on their touch. So how it works is you're going to shoot a minute from 4 spots: the free throw line, the wing, the short corner in the mid-range, and then the last minute they're going to shoot top of the key threes. That can be adjusted as well. We've tried them shoot corner threes, no problem. Scoring system: from the free throw line, 1 point, wing 2 point, baseline 2 points, and then threes are worth 3. Standard in our program is 100. All right. The record for our program is around a 150. All right. So,
and by the way, can I interrupt? What was your record?
155.
Okay. All right. If somebody goes out and watches, try it. Just try it. It's pretty good.
And again, so this is Jordan. So I'm not giving him a ton of information. So what I'm telling him right now is get your rhythm, feel the ball, feel your shot. I'm being very positive right now. 1, because it's our first workout. And 2, I want to set the tone for the next 36 minutes that he's going to be in a good state and he's going to be comfortable and he's going to feel good for that next 36 minutes.
So can we just stop right there? Just stop it for a second, because we'll see what he does from 3. So one of the things that I noticed just watching, this was the first or second workout, is his ability to be shot ready. And that's something obviously that we really emphasize. Even if you rewind it a little bit, and maybe just the last 20 seconds. So what I like is, go ahead, now you can run it, is his butt's down, his hands and feet are ready to shoot, and he kind of bunny hops into the shot, and his legs are into it. And that is, we were trying to transition Jordan from guy around the basket to a guy becoming more of a wing. And when he shot the ball really well at the beginning of the year, and he shot the ball well at the very end of the year, he was shot ready. And when he hit his lull in the January, February, he was not low and ready to shoot. And sometimes it's good to show a guy, hey, here's what you look like. You know, we all got to get back to basics. All right, go ahead. Keep going.
And again, so for this drill, like Coach said, the shot ready, that's something, and I try to give the guys one-word cues. So we obviously say, shot ready, we say things like that. I like to yell at our guys' feet. I think the shooting really starts with your feet, and allows them to kind of cue themselves in, and hopefully that results in them kind of being a little more shot ready. And shooting in general, I like to think of it as a chain reaction. So it starts with your feet, flows through your hips, and then to your shoulders, and then up through your follow through. And how I like to kind of, this is just something that I've kind of thought about as I was working on my own game and then seeing other guys, is that the proficiency of a shooter can be evaluated based on their ability to correct later on in the chain. So good shooters, college shooters, it starts with their feet. So they need to have everything from their feet kind of flow up. That's going to result in made shots, if they're game. But a really proficient shooter like a Fletcher McGee, a JJ Redick, they have the ability to correct late in their chain reaction up to their shoulders or even potentially at their follow through. That's how they're able to fly off those screens and self-correct in the air. So that's something I like to kind of judge with our guys, because it kind of tiers the level of shooting from a very, very obvious and tangible way for them to kind of process the proficiency of shooting.
And if you look at Jordan, and I haven't seen this clip film since August, shooting at a high percentage from that mid-range where everything was easy from his feet. And then his misses are flat or short because he's not attacking from the three. And as he will make and hopefully make that jump and that progression to become an elite shooter from three, in addition to finishing around the rim, that's it, him attacking from his feet.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, so that was kind of a quick, kind of short demonstration of 4-minute shooting. Now we get into another staple of our program, 55 and 5. Great, one of my favorite drills, 1 ball, 1 rebounder. You're shooting threes. Every fourth shot is going to be a mid-range shot. That just kind of mixes it up with a lot of these drills. We used to do it at Bucknell, coach, just 50 and 5, and it was all threes. And you can really get in a good rhythm there if you're just shooting threes. Adding that mid-range every fourth shot really adds a different element to the mental component of the shooting drill and things like that, which is really, really important. And you see, again, Jordan, this is his first workout. He's finding his rhythm. This is still about the 6 minute into the workout. So we're watching and we're evaluating. And in many cases, what I like to do is I like to see how they miss. Are their misses consistent? If their misses are left, right, all over the place, okay, we got some things we need to work on. If their misses are short, long, like Coach said, that's going to be a shot ready. That's going to be getting your ass down. That might be just finishing with your elbow above your ear in the follow through, things like that. So how they miss can kind of dictate your corrections on their shot as well.
If you run that, could run that last shot back.
Gotcha.
2 shots back. Okay. So this would be, I think this is the one where you just said in terms of finishing with a high foul through elbow above the eye.
Yeah.
Okay. And you watch, I think this miss, you watch how low Jordan's elbow is. And this would be, so again, if it's a low elbow, then you have no arc. So feet, elbow above the eye on the follow through, I think is key. And that's where Jordan, who, had a really good sophomore year for us. So this was previous to the sophomore year, but he was transitioning from being primarily a 4 offensive rebound, score around the basket, to being a legit wing. He made great strides, and we can't, both of us and all of us can't wait to get back in the gym with him whenever we're allowed to see, kind of the next steps for him.
No doubt, no doubt. And again, with these shooting drills, I love to introduce a new shooting drill to guys. I think the best question, and you kind of know the mentality of kids when you introduce a shooting drill, the best question you can get from a kid after you first tell them about a drill is, well, what's the record? If a kid asks you that, then like their mindset is set up to be like, well, that's what I'm shooting for. And it's not going to be, you're not going to get that answer from every kid. So in many ways, I like to kind of ask certain questions to kind of figure out, well, what makes this kid tick? So for Jordan, he's not a kid who asked what the record is, but what he is a kid who asked, like, when I introduce like NBA standards, because that's his end goal, now that resonated with him a little more. So I had to get some NBA data. So that's what kind of drove him. He's like, well, that's where I want to be. So I need to get that. So just different ways to kind of keep the kids interested in things like that.
And I think the key that you mentioned is for anyone watching, time, score, and you got to keep track, because you have to keep track. Progress matters. Data matters. And if you just go out and shoot and you don't have a plan and you don't have accountability, you will not get better.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. And to that point, this is Durant shooting. I'll explain that in a second. But to Coach's point, as you're developing as a shooter and you do a workout, you might shoot 300 and 400 shots in a workout, and let's say you make 220. Well, if you're not keeping track, what's the difference between 220 and 222? 2 more makes. It won't resonate with you that you made those 2 more makes, but you still progressed. And sometimes we can hit a lull in our workouts and things like that because we're like, well, am I getting better? That's the importance, like Coach said, of keeping track and keeping that tangible evidence. Those 2 made shots, that's a big deal. That's a big, big deal. And you need to see kind of those minimal steps of progress in order to finally get to the big picture.
So, and 55, going back 55 and 5. So the standard is to make 55 in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. What's our program record? You know?
Program record with our guys?
With Mason.
Yeah, 76. Otis Livingston.
76. What's the under Dave Paulsen coaching record?
82.
Yeah. Do we know who had that?
It's probably some handsome guy.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not a handsome guy, but it is you. Okay. All right. But again, having a goal, and then now, and this is important. So you got 82 when you were a senior. Okay.
Yes.
The first time you ever did this drill, your first workout at Bucknell in the fall of, what would that be, 2009 or what?
2009. Yeah.
What'd you get?
46.
Okay. And I think that's important for anyone watching it. You went from 46 to 82. You were a very good shooter coming out of high school, but the repetition and the efficiency and the proficiency, those have to be developed over time through repetition. So from 46 to 82, and I think that's really, really important.
Absolutely. Now this drill here, this is Durant shooting. This is something we introduced just to get the guys moving a little more. How it starts is it's a 3-minute shooting drill, 30 seconds from each spot. You're going to go baseline to wing, elbow to elbow, baseline to wing, same progression from the 3-point line. How it's scored is mid-range shots are worth 2, threes are worth 3. I actually stole this one from Coach Fisher at William & Mary. He had his team do it last spring, and he mentioned it to me. And it's a really good drill, again, just to kind of allow them to see the ball go through the hoop, get moving, and really get ready to kind of attack those game shots that we're going to touch on a little bit later in this workout. This right here is Jamal Hartwell, our sophomore point guard, who is a great shooter and can shoot it from deep, and loves. He's a kid, again, so when you introduce a drill, he asks what the record is. So he has a different mindset from other kids.
So this is 2 things. So this is basically 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then what's the goal, did you say?
The standard is 75.
75. Twos? Yeah. For a
twos
minute and a
threes.
half at twos, minute and a half at threes. 75 is the standard. Can you run it back a little bit? Oh, yeah. No, this is good.
Sure.
So you notice Jamal gets shot ready by going 1-2.
Yeah.
Left, right. Okay. Everything's always the same. Left, right, and in. So there's 2 ways to get ready. Bunny hop, like Jordan was doing, okay, or a 1-2 step, all right? But again, the same things, starts with the legs and ends with the high follow through. He gets his legs, he gets his feet into it, high follow through. Before Jamal got sick at the end of December, he was shooting, I think, 40% from 3 and averaging 15.5 points per game. And had about a 9-game segment there where he was really not himself. And then at the end of the year, got back to really zinging the ball in again. So we're looking forward to getting him back and having him be completely healthy for an entire season.
No doubt. And again, with these shooting drills, like Coach said, they're timed and to emphasize kind of that game repetition, something that you can do when you work with your guys as well. We have a tendency we have those standards and things, but you can also count, well, how many shots are you getting? So that's something we've done with 55 and 5. We put on a standard of how many shots they need to take. That's just emphasizing you got to be shot ready. They have to be game pace, get up into your shot. And it also puts a little more onus on a rebounder. So if you're working in a team setting and you have another player rebounding for a kid, it's important that they don't, that's not time to take it off. And that's building a core value of ours, which is humility. Like, are you a good rebounder? Are you helping your teammate be successful? So that's something we like to preach in our program as well.
It's great.
So now we're going to go into some different things again. So now we would usually we'd only do about 2 shooting drills to start. And then we're going to get into some finishing. So now we did ball handling that I didn't show you before. We did 2 shooting drills, which would be anywhere from probably 8 to 12 minutes. And now we're going to work on some finishing and touch. So we're still in the portion of ramping things up, but now I want to really have the guys focus on being quick with the ball and now just working on their touch around the rim. So you're going to see them just do these little movements, get out of their move. They're going to make mistakes during this. The point is, I would rather see them make a mistake every rep and not slow down than slow down and never make a mistake. The focus here is go game speed with that ball handling, and now we're just going to work on our touch. Something so I always like. Sorry, go ahead, Coach.
I was going to say, and these are two in the picture. These are two bigger wings who in high school were bigger, more athletic than guys that they were playing against, could get by in that athleticism. And now in Jordan Miller and then Dadzi, who played 2 games and then unfortunately injured his wrist and was out for the year, have to transition to become full-time complete guards. And as you said, we already saw 3 or 4 mishandles already. Yeah. That's important. But, I know in the last game we played, at a really key point in the game, Jordan Miller got the defensive rebound, broke it out. This is in the A-10 tournament, pushed it up all the way down the floor, made a little juke move, and scored to get us from 6 to 8 at pretty much sealed the game in the first round of the A-10 tournament before everything was shut down. And that was something he couldn't have done even in this, in August. So this is really good for me to see as well, just having watched film with Jordan of his progression. Well, it all came from this drill work starting at the end of August.
No doubt. And just to build off that, Coach, I do want to throw a disclaimer. This is Dazi's first collegiate workout. I have it on my computer because I show him where he started and his progression. Right. So he's already missed 2 layups. He's mishandled the ball. This is a good kind of visual for guys to see. So Dazi, again, is in that white long sleeve shirt. This is the difference between a sophomore and a freshman in college. Jordan's a sophomore at this point. Dazi's a freshman. You're going to kind of see them go through the pace of the workout a little differently. Jordan's still going to make mistakes like you just see there, but he's going at a different pace than Dazi, and you see Dazi is really struggling. And this is about 15 to 18 minutes into the workout. And this is anticipated.
Yeah. And again, Dazi, because he was coming from Canada and
yes.
Long story, but he was not able to come for the summer session because of what's it called? The I-20?
I-20 visa, yeah.
The visa to allow you to come in country to study. So Jordan had June and July at that point. Dazi probably had just unpacked his bags, grabbed a bagel, and was in the gym. So it was an eye-opener for him, but that's okay.
Absolutely. So it's always good to kind of, like you said, Coach, see how far these guys have come and also show them how far they've come as well. Like Dazi looks like a different person now. He put on weight, his ball skills are much better and things like that. But it's just important, again, to show these kids their progression as well, so they really buy into oh, I am getting better. And again, these are all game finishes that we're working on, again, focusing on touch. So I'm not as concerned with makes or misses right now. Obviously, I want them to make everything, but I want them ready to really focus on touch. And now we're going to get into a little more game-specific spacing and speed. So now the shots that we just finished with those floaters, now they're going to kind of get into them a little bit here. And again, Dazi's a little tired, and Jordan struggles with this portion here too. But by the end of the year, he made this shot at a couple crucial times. He made a couple at Duquesne, St. Joe's, like you just mentioned, in the conference tournament. He had a great little floater in the middle of the paint. So
against Fordham, right from where he is,
yep.
Late clock, huge possession. That was more of a pull-up instead of a floater. But just from that spot, and that was, again, the one that kind of sealed the win at Fordham in our last regular season game. And it's from that spot, it's directly applicable to this work.
Yeah. And again, you see Jordan kind of ready and shot ready and ready to attack. Again, he missed a couple. I'm not telling them a ton of information right now. I want to see how they react. And now we're going to do another progression here where I'm just trying to push them off their line. So really quick, I want you to see how Jordan is able to embrace the physicality. And this is the difference between a sophomore and a freshman, and how Dazi kind of embraces it. We talk about being greedy with your space. Take as much space as you can. Be really greedy with it. Now watch Dazi in his first collegiate workout. He kind of avoids the contact, and that angle's just different. And that's something that if I show him that now, he's like, I can't believe I used to do that. And so that's why it's really important, if you can hold on to a couple nuggets with guys just to show them how far they've come, they'll really buy into that progression.
But even that second rep for Dazi was better than his first, where he got his hips into you, got a little bit lower, took a better angle to the rim.
For sure. For sure. And again, what we're trying to do as well is we're trying to layer things that they might not even be aware that they're really working on, but inevitably we will introduce later on. So we're obviously talking about we're emphasizing things in this drill where they have to talk a little more, and they have to throw those passes and things like that and play against defense. But we're trying to layer them so that they can be introduced to different skills that they'll need, but maybe won't be emphasized during the workout. And I'll get into that with some of this a little later. But now we're going to actually get to the competition portion. So we did the finishing, which was that progression of kind of just working on their touch, and then the game finishes. And now how do we simulate that for our guys right here? So this is Javon Green and Jason Douglas Stanley here, working from the elbow. So the point of this drill is they both have to start behind the free throw line. The defense cannot move until the offensive player moves. Very simple. But what it does is it creates the advantage of breaking down your defender, getting them on your hip. It already allows that advantage to be created. So now the focus is, how do I finish at the rim against a like-sized player but contested? So now they get to work on some of those finish moves that we worked on, and some of the emphasis and things we talked about. Like this right here is a good job of being really physical, using your body, taking that extra dribble. I've given them no information on what to do or how to do it, because I want to see how they naturally do it first. And if they are successful and it'll translate in games, then I tend to be very kind of hands off. Now, if they fail and they struggle, and they may look to me for an answer, now I know I have their ear and can
this
really
is good. So this is good. Run it back. See, now we're going to keep you on the payroll, Bryson, because run it back to the play before where he misses because Javon won't go up with his right hand. Okay. And here he is going into his junior year, and he's so low. Run it back just a little bit to the end. Like he's finishing low.
Yeah.
Because he's not comfortable with his offhand. Here's a really, really, really good high school player going into his, he'll be going now. He was our leading scorer last year. Yeah. In his third year as a starter, his freshman year, he played 25, 26 minutes a game. And I'm like, I'm getting mad at him right now. Like, man, Javon's got to finish his right hand. So just let it run. And then I see you coming. All right, because I'm like, what the heck is Bryson doing over there? What's he doing? I'm going to have to step in. And now just keep it running. And now you're going to come over. I think we're going to see it. And you're going to say, yo, you got to finish with your right hand. So we're going to keep you on the payroll, Bryson. That's
Sounds good. So, again, just kind of giving them nuggets. And then it finishes with his right hand. He's still low, but the switch of the hand creates that space and things like that. But again, this is a really good drill because very few guys can actually create that space and create that initial advantage off the bounce. And if they can, they're elite. But all of our guys, with the way we play, will be in these positions based on our ball movement, playing in ball screens, and just playing out of closeouts. But sometimes that can be more difficult to simulate without kind of saying to the defense, well, let's dummy it. So what we did here is we just put them in that situation. So now it's game speed from that aspect. And then what we're going to do later is, well, now how do we get that advantage? How do we create that advantage? So it's a little kind of building the foundation almost kind of backwards in many ways, but being able to kind of rep out those contested finishes at the rim that we worked on earlier in the workout.
Perfect.
So now we're going to get to some game-specific shooting. So this is something that we do. It's called 3 consecutive, and it's layered shooting. And the focus of this is you're just going to put together, as a coach, we put together 3 consecutive game shots that they will see in a game. And the whole purpose of this is, one, they have to go game speed. They're going to alternate, so there's going to be time to rest. So I only correct initially if you're not going game speed. That's my pet peeve for this workout to start. The technique and things like that will address, again, like I said, I'll allow them to fail, or I'll allow them to do it how they're comfortable, and maybe I might learn something as well. Like Jordan Miller, working with him has taught me a lot about, I can't be so quick to tell him how to do things, because naturally he has an unbelievable knack for finishing around the rim, different kind of unorthodox footwork that I've learned from, that I'm like, okay, I wouldn't have taught it that way, but that's wildly effective.
That's a good point. When we were watching film on Jordan, we were trying to figure out, okay, what about this kid Jordan Miller? That's the thing that jumped off my page. He could finish in the most unique ways, and he has a knack for putting the ball in the hoop around the basket. And there's a ton of guys we see when recruiting, great move, great take. Oh, they just missed. And you're like, oh, good move. But at a certain point as a coach, good move, forget it. Put the ball in the basket.
No doubt.
And he is elite at finishing around the rim in traffic.
Yes. So for this, 3 shots, they're going to go all game speed. First one, it's going to be a turnout 3 in the corner. So you can think of this more so if, your jersey cut, what we call jersey or backdoor cut, and now he's finishing his cut to the corner, and he's going to shoot this 3. That's his first shot. Now, again, we always talk as a program, next play. So he makes this. That's great. Now the next shot's coming. How do I refocus and get into this? So now it's going to be a throwback out of the corner. So I kind of change my position as if it's a spread ball screen. So if I came off that ball screen in the wing here, if you can see my cursor,
Yep.
If I came off this ball screen and came here, Jordan was in the corner. He's going to lift out of the corner and now rise right into that 3. And now we're building. So that's the second shot. Again, now he misses. Next play, next ball's coming at him. And now we're doing the same driving line finishes that we did to start. And then the next person's going. So the emphasis is, okay, like you got to focus, you got to lock in, gain speed. Next play after each shot. How do I refocus? How do I refocus? How do I refocus? So I'll let this play a little bit. Now here's Dazi. Now, the first workout, I would not keep score of this drill. I would want to introduce it to them, kind of see how they work and things like that, see their technique. But after the first week, now we're scoring at 3s and 2s. So now on the drives, I don't tell them how they have to finish, but Dazi decides to shoot a pull-up here. We don't really, obviously mid-range, not a great shot analytically, and not something we like our guys taking a ton of unless they're prolific in that area and can make those shots if they work on them. So the point is, how do I encourage them to take the shots they want without actually telling them? And sometimes you just got to change the scoring. So now when they compete, Dazi's probably not taking that pull-up because he's like, well, why would I take a pull-up when I can do a different finish move and finish at the rim if I'm trying to win the drill? So that's kind of what I'm trying to get at with the different scoring eventually as well. And I wouldn't tell Dazi that right away. Just want to see kind of how he does, because I think he shot that shot more so because he's tired and he's going through his first workout. So that happens. But Dazi is a kid who's just grown a ton, and he has a chance to be really special. He has some gifts athletically that are just going to be super helpful to our team. So again, another progression, another 3-shot progression here is just going to be coming off that wing as if you got a pin down or staggered. Now you're going to fade to the corner, and then again, finishing at the rim to finish. So different shots, you can manipulate this more. Any coaches who may have different things in their offense, you can manipulate these 3 shots to simulate shots that you would get or guys would see more in their offense. So it is pretty flexible in that way. I just like the concept of the 3 consecutive shots, emphasizing game speed and also emphasizing that next play. How do you refocus with the guys? And again, you see them now, they're about 30 minutes into this workout, and Jordan on the baseline has his hands on his head. He's tired, and, but you got to be able to refocus. And Dazi does a good job. And here's something to outline as well. Like, I would correct a lot of things about this with Dazi in the sense, like, is he really shot ready? Like Coach mentions, no. And the shot fake, maybe make some corrections there as well. Not really completely game speed there. I left that alone because it was the first workout. And then when we watch film the next day, that's something I'm going to address it so he can see it, and also like he can learn from that, and just kind of it'll resonate a little more with him, hopefully moving on to his next workout.
Leave it right there, Bryson, so you can see the clock. Well, okay, that's fine. So 5:38. So you put 40 minutes on? Is that right?
40 minutes.
So here's college athletes. Okay. Jordan had gone through June and July of workouts with our team. And we had 3 weeks off when they went home. So this is a year ago.
Yep.
Jordan had started for us as a freshman, averaged 11 a game. He's completely gassed 35 minutes into it. That doesn't mean Jordan Miller is out of shape. And this is for any high school players or high school coaches. It means that the level of pace and intensity was high, and so he's gassed. And so my thing is, I always get a chuckle at people that say, I spent 4 hours in the gym. I would say doing what? I don't know how you can spend, especially if it's an individual workout or a two-person workout, more than 40, 50 minutes in being productive. Now, maybe you go back in later on, but if you're going to go all out, you're going to be completely exhausted, and then you take a break. Now maybe you shoot free throws, maybe you come back later at night, do some stationary shooting, whatever it might be, lifting. But the quality and intensity is more important than the amount of time you spend in the gym. For sure.
So now we're going to get to one of my favorite drills. The Philadelphia 76ers do this for their pre-draft workouts. And again, talking about layering the workouts, the emphasis of this drill is one-on-one. And like I said, we want to put those guys in the position, like I said, the focus of the workout, making game shots and those semi-contested shots. Like how capable or how proficient are they in making those shots? So, but to layer it, this is a great drill for us. The way we play defense, we like to be in the gaps and we like to stunt. Dazi's first workout, I didn't tell him this. He doesn't know this, but I love this drill because it simulates that stunt right off the bat. So before even really getting into the details of the stunt, now I can see him kind of how he naturally may stunt at the ball and then get into a long closeout. Not the emphasis of the drill for this point, but it's something that I'm able to evaluate as a coach and just see how he naturally does it, and then kind of see how that works and maybe tweak that a couple of weeks when we really dive into those specific defensive details. But again, the focus of this drill and the focus of this workout, contested shots, can we make them? So for this drill, if you score without putting the ball on the floor, you get 2 points. So catch and shoot, you got to be ready to shoot, like Coach has said. Get your butt down, ready to shoot into your shot. Catch and shoot, that's worth 2 points. Anytime you put the ball on the floor, that's worth 1. Okay? So again, trying to emphasize the drill, the skills that we want. And this is the difference between a sophomore and someone's first collegiate workout is this closeout right here. So I feel, again, you're going to see me kind of tell Dazi a little bit about how he has to chop his feet. But again, he's going to learn from that because that's failure. So he's going to learn from that. And I gave him a little bit, but now I want to see how he adjusts. So this is going to be a better closeout. You see him chop a little bit better. And then Jordan just does a good job getting into this shot. All right. Pretty good shot and things like that. And I just put this one in here so everyone can see Dazi is a good player. And, he struggled this workout, but the ball went through the hoop a couple of times for the kid. So for this, though, this is the shot that separates good shooters from really good shooters is, can you make a semi-contested shot consistently? This right here. So Jordan's able to get into a shot. It never breaks his rhythm, But a lot of people would say that's contested. That's a decent contest. All right. But that's what separates good shooters from great shooters, is the ability to make that shot consistently. And that means, because those are the shots that you're going to see most often in a game, are those semi-contested kind of shots like that.
Because if you can make that shot, Bryson, if he can make that shot, then Dot Z or whoever Dot Z is on the other team, they can't chop their feet. And now they got to go flying out, and now Jordan can finish at the rim. So you want to be proficient enough where the guy has to close out super hard. If he only has to close out kind of hard, then he can.
So now just another 3-shot progression that we do with our guys to get them in handoffs and get them a couple different shots. That's the only reason I'm showing you this, is just you can be creative with this. And it gets them shots at different spots that they would get in a game. All right, they get to a handoff, are able to kind of shoot from different areas and things like that. Just kind of showing shots that they may get in the game, but obviously different things like that. So again, these are some of our hybrid kind of forward wings. Both would play minutes at the 4 at certain points. So we start with a pick and pop. So they just kind of ice right into a pick and pop, boom, then right into a fade 3. And now they're going to do what we call a go move, coming out of the corner, catch with momentum, getting down, scoring in that little area. So I'm not really giving them a ton of detail on how each shot has to finish. The first 2 are pretty self-explanatory. They're going to be catch and shoot. But that last one, they can finish at the rim, or they can finish with, a little 10-foot pull-up, things like that they may have to shoot in a game. All right? So now, to Coach's point, this is probably the best progression of this drill that I envisioned when I wanted the guys to do this drill. So it's going to be very similar to the one we did on the baseline. If you can see at the top of your screen, I know there's stuff going on there. But here's who we're working with right here. If you can pay attention to that up top, it's going to be this closeout. Again, those shots, that's the one. He's in rhythm, semi-contested, he needs to make. So I'm just going to play this through. So he keeps making the right read, semi-contested, made 2. Like, that's what we want to see. So now he has 2 makes, no dribbles, 4 points, games are to 5, 6 points. He just won that spot. Now we switch spots. He's made his last 3 shots, okay? And to Coach's point, now how does the closeout change? He raises, and now he finishes at the rim. So trying to simulate those decisions and putting them in those situations so they can kind of get a little more comfortable making those decisions on these closeouts. And then Gonar right here closes out a little shorter on Jordan, and he makes the right read, just happens to miss. So he just made 5 consecutive plays of the right read. And that's what we're trying to build with this as well for the one-on-one. And that's kind of a finish move that we worked on earlier in the drill. So this is something that's really exciting as a coach when you see the guys apply things without telling them to apply things in those competitive situations.
Run it back. Just in case Jordan happens to be watching. So I acknowledge I see the right hand. It's awesome.
Jordan gets to the right hand. And again, layering these drills. I didn't talk about defense with these guys, but this is something in a situation that they'll be in based on how we play defense. Middle penetration, we stunt, and now we got to work on our closeout. Okay? And Gonar's feet weren't perfect on that closeout. He needs to switch his feet. That's something we'll address in film and things like that. So I'm trying to register more than I'm actually telling them in that moment. And again, allowing them to fail and then correcting from that, because I just believe that allows them to be a little more receptive to the teaching. And that's all I got, Coach.
That's awesome. And I think there's just so much there for people, coaches, how you structure. So if a coach is watching, how you structure, your workouts, for players that happen to maybe watch, the specificity. Again, if you have a workout, you got to have a plan, okay, and what you're going to do. And then I do think there has to be a focus on that particular day. Might be a little bit more on shooting, or your mechanics of shooting, or finishing. There's a progression. Stationary ball handling. The early shooting drills were not a ton of running around because, again, we're trying to warm the body up. Everything has a score. Everything has a time. If you want to be a good player, you write down, okay, I'm old-fashioned. I still got the legal pad and a pen, but maybe you do it on your notes on your phone, whatever it might be, but you keep track. And I think what Bryson, what you pointed out is you having this on your computer so you can go show somebody like Dot Z or Jordan or whoever it is you might be working with. Look at you. You are getting better. Look at where you were in August. But I think measuring progress, and then I think the intensity has to be there, because one of the biggest problems for a lot of players, certainly the guys who were stars in high school and they come to college and they struggle early on, the level of intensity, the pace with which you got to be able to get your shot off or finish, the physicality, being able to play physically against bigger, stronger bodies. Those are the adjustments. And so when we structure our workouts, the more that we can make it game-like, simulate the pace, simulate the physicality, the better off we're going to be.
No doubt.
Bryson, this was awesome. Appreciate it. I think a ton for people to take with them, whoever you are who's watching this. And again, whenever we're allowed to practice, and then whenever we're allowed to actually have visitors come watch practice, if you're a high school coach, if you're an AU coach, connect with Bryson, and we're more than willing to share and help and give you access to our practices, because everything that you stole from somebody else. Everything I do, I stole from somebody else, and that's what we want to do, is continue to share the game.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Bryson.
No problem.